All right, today I'm breaking down 5 race day shoes that are about to be released in 2026. I'm going to reveal what makes them special and most importantly, what's changed from their previous versions. I've got all the big brands covered, but before we start, I want to hear from you and which shoe you are most excited about this year. So leave a comment down below of your favorite shoe that's about to be released. All right, first up then is ADIDAS with their latest version of their Pro series, the ADIDAS Adios Pro 5. Now, I've run in the Pro 2, the Pro 3, and most recently the Pro 4, and one thing that ADIDAS has genuinely improved with each version is the size and the fitting. Early models were narrow and unforgiving, but each release has gotten more accommodating and easier to lock down. So I'm expecting the same trend to continue with the Pro 5 model. Now, from what we know so far, ADIDAS looks to be refining rather than reinventing. Light Strike Pro is still the midsole foam, and while we don't know the exact details of this shoe, it's going to be hopefully a slightly smoother ride at marathon pace with that same responsive toe off that the ADIDAS Pro line is well known for. One interesting detail is the energy rods. In early images floating around on Reddit, you can clearly see the rods through the midsole, potentially removed entirely from the shoe. Personally, I doubt that. You couldn't really see the rods visible in the Pro Evo or the Pro Evo 2, so it's far more than likely that ADIDAS has simply changed how the rods sit within the shoe or how the foam wraps around them. I know a lot of people returned the Pro 4 model because they were saying that the rods had snapped apparently in the shoe. The upper also looks lighter and more race focused potentially, with a cleaner design and what appears to be an improved midfoot structure. There looks like there are also new laces similar to the ones that you find in the Nike Super shoes, but based on ADIDAS's recent trajectory, I'd expect a more secure fit without adding pressure or weight. Now, outsole coverage wise looks familiar, which is a good sign. ADIDAS rubber has been consistently durable and grippy, and that matters on race day more than most people probably realize, especially in wet conditions or on technical courses. So compared to the ADIDAS Adios Pro 4, this doesn't look like a radical change, but that's not a negative. And if ADIDAS have cleaned the fit up and the ride and refined how the rods interact with the foam, then the Pro 5 could end up being the most dialed in version yet. Now, once I get miles into them, we'll know for sure, but based on the progression of this line, expectations are high, and this is one that's expected to drop in around May this year, and I'll be looking to get my hands on it. All right, let's move on to ASICS and the eagerly anticipated ASICS Super Blast 3, and this is one that I'm genuinely buzzing for. Now, I haven't ran in the Super Blast 3 yet, but I have spent a lot of time in this line. I love the Super Blast 2 and put around 1,600 kilometers into that shoe, so I know exactly what ASICS have been trying to do with this platform. The Super Blast 3 is a highly anticipated maximum cushion non-plated daily trainer expected to release in around March time. I believe March 1st could be when it could release. And the biggest update is going to be the midsole. The ASICS is moving from the FF Leap in the top layer, replacing with FF Foam Turbo Plus, which should make the shoe lighter, more responsive underfoot. The bottom layer is expected to be the FF Blast Plus for durability, so the goal here is more energy return without sacrificing longevity, so some changes to the foam. Weight may drop as a result, which is impressive for a high stack shoe like this that is incredibly light as it is. The stack height is also anticipated to increase by 1 millimeter or 2, while keeping the same drop to 8 millimeters across from back to front. So you're getting a little bit more protection without changing the ride too much. Now, structurally, there's still no plate, but what you get is that wide, stable base that works across a huge range of paces, from easy recovery runs to long marathon tempo efforts and even faster speed sessions at the track. Now, the outsole is expected to continue using that ASICS grip, which was one of the reasons why the Super Blast 2 lasted so long for me. This one's expected to drop at the start of March, and if ASICS genuinely have improved the midsole responsiveness whilst keeping the versatility and the durability intact, then the Super Blast 3 should be one of the best super trainers on the market in 2026, especially for runners who want elite level cushioning without a carbon plate. And this could be a go-to for so many race goers this year. Okay, now before we move on to number 3 in this list, please support me and this little channel by hitting that subscribe button. It's a completely free way to help grow this little channel. Now, I've just hit 10k subs and I've got so much planned over the next few months, so hit Hitting that subscribe button allows me to keep producing these videos and doing what I love, and hopefully you enjoy this video too. Let's get back into it and let's talk about SAUCONY, and more specifically the SAUCONY Endorphin Elite 3. This is another shoe I haven't run in yet, but the updates here are interesting and they do address some of the very real complaints from the earlier versions. Now, the Endorphin Elite 3 sticks with the same 40mm heel and 32mm forefoot stack, so the overall geometry is an 8mm drop from back to front. That remains unchanged from the previous model. That's important because SAUCONY clearly didn't want to mess with the core ride that made this shoe fast in the initial place. Now, the midsole is still built around INVIGORATE foam paired with a full carbon plate, so you'd expect the same explosive high energy feel when you're running hard. The biggest change in the third version of this shoe is around the heel. Now, SAUCONY have widened the heel platform, which should improve ground contact and stability, especially during landings and late race fatigue. Early versions could feel a little sketchy once form broke down, and this looks like a direct response to that issue. Another key update is the removal of the arch cutouts. Those help with weight savings, but they also made the shoe feel less stable for some runners. Filling that area in should create more consistent and predictable platform underfoot without turning the shoe into an utter tank. The upper remains minimal and race focused, light, stripped back and designed to disappear once you are moving. Overall then, the Endorphin Elite 3 looks less about pushing extremities and more about refinement. If SAUCONY have managed to keep the speed in while improving stability and ground contact, this could be easily one of the most usable versions of this shoe yet. Now let's move on to one of the big hitters, Nike, and the Nike Alphafly 4. Just days before the 2025 Chicago Marathon, a shoe labeled the Nike Dev 16141 appeared on the World Athletics list, making them eligible for competition from October the 2nd, 2025 to October the 1st, 2026. Now, the process for prototypes here is standard. Manufacturers must register prototypes for a maximum of 12 months in the development window before mass production. This listing confirms that the stack height and the geometry were compliant with the regulation 1442, which I won't bore you. This all hints towards a possible release of the Nike Alphafly 4, and it's a guess it's probably going to release somewhere between before, during Tokyo and London Marathon, maybe March, April, May. From the limited information we have on the potential Alphafly 4, it looks very similar to the Alphafly 3 model. However, the Alphafly 4 model has a little more stack in the forefoot, with reports suggesting just a 4mm drop from back to front. This is quite reminiscent of those OG Alphafly models. Looking at some of the images too, it would appear that there is a little bit more of that ZoomX foam over the air units themselves. This may change the ride, although I'm not sure, but props to Ed Budd because he picked up on the change in the pattern on the outsole grip too, especially in that forefoot area. So that's another change they've made. And that design would appear to slightly differ again from the Alphafly 3 model. Again, a lot of this is unconfirmed, but Nike's Alphafly model is always a popular one and one that served me well in my own running, with a PB in the half marathon coming in the Alphafly 3. I've got a lot of love for the shoe and I will be buying one when it releases. Now, before we get into the last trainer from this list, I need to talk to you about something that's going to make me a faster runner. And don't get me wrong, wearing the fastest running shoe is definitely going to help. But something that I've added into my training recently is this. You're probably wondering, how on earth is something like this going to help me? Well, this is INVIGORATE, and it's an electrolyte mix that I've now been using for the past 3 months. Every morning I take an electrolyte mix from these guys at INVIGORATE. It's been a game changer for me. Hydration has always been an issue for me. I've always hated that sloshy feeling of having water just in your stomach hanging around, and it feels awful when you're trying to run at those race paces and you load up with water beforehand because you want to stay hydrated. That feeling of having water inside you is nasty. Since switching over to electrolytes, the water is absorbed far quicker into your bloodstream from your gut, so you just don't have those issues and it doesn't feel like that water is sloshing around. I'm not on a commissioning bonus for this, but as Joe is a friend of mine, I'm trying to support him and his local business. It's a really healthy electrolyte mix as well. No additives, no sugars, no crap whatsoever. Joe has given me a discount code to share with you guys. It's on screen now. That entitles you to get 25% off, and it's already a ridiculously cheap product. Anyway, let's get back to those race day shoes. Okay, finally, we have the Brooks Hyperion Elite 6. A lot of elites in this list. Brooks have been steadily closing the gap in the super shoe race, and the Elite 6 continues that momentum. The midsole builds on that Brooks Peber-based foam, delivering better energy return than earlier Hyperion models, whilst maintaining a firmer, more stable feel than some competitors. According to run testers, this shoe doesn't feel wild or bouncy, it feels efficient and predictable. The carbon plate geometry has been refined again, improving toe off without forcing an exaggerated running style. It works with your stride as opposed to trying to change it. Now, one of the biggest strengths of the Hyperion Elite 6 is balance. It's fast but not unstable, aggressive but not exhausting. That makes it an excellent option for runners who want a race shoe that feels natural, especially over those longer marathon, ultra marathon distances. The upper is lighter, more breathable and more comfortable over long distances than the previous version. Brooks continues to prioritize comfort without sacrificing speed, and that really shows here. This might not be the flashiest shoe on the list, but it's one of the most confidence-inspiring, especially if you value control and consistency on race day. Okay, so there we have it. 5 race day shoes that will soon be hitting the shelves this year. If there are any shoes you think that I've missed, leave a comment down below and share with me your thoughts. That's all for today, guys. Thank you for watching. If you could hit that subscribe button, well, I love you. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.